All right, kiddos, let's take a look at Lesson 14 Mini Project Animation. This one you can see has 6 levels to it. All levels are connected. And by the time you are done with this, you will have applied everything you've learned in lessons 1 through 13 into a project that is animated. So let's just dive right into it. Now, as you guys get into this, you may or may not have been given a project guide. You may have to plan ahead, so please follow those directions specific to your classroom instructions. For Bubble 1 of Lesson 14, we are just examining a potential scene to give you an idea of what it is you have to create. So in this scene, we see a few things happening. We've got a background, which is a basic blue color, nothing wrong with that. We've got some shapes back here, some circles, and we've got 2 aliens, and the aliens are kind of telling a joke. What kind of music do planets sing? And the other little dude's Neptunes. He says Neptunes. I also wanted to point out the motion or the animation of these things. So this guy who's moving from the bottom to the top, that's known as a, oh my goodness, I just forgot. I'll remember it in just a second. But you're going to need at least one of those types of motions where you're sliding left to right, up to down, or you are rotating in a full circle. Oh, counter pattern, that's what it's called. It's called a counter pattern. So you're going to use a math block with that one that you set up. These other 2 that remain on the screen and just kind of wiggle back and forth, you're going to achieve that by using a random number block. So for our alien still left on the screen, he's probably got a rotation, and the rotation is set with a random number. And then the same thing with the words. They're making the words wiggle because they created a variable and they stored a random number in that variable, and then they turned around and used that variable as either, it looks like it's the X position because those words are sliding back and forth left to right. So enough about that. Let's move on to the actual project. So keep in mind right here in the middle near workspace, we've got this infinity symbol with an arrow. That means everything we do, bubbles 2 through 7, are going to be connected. What you do on one level is going to show up on the next, and so on and so forth. The best advice I can give you for when to do projects like this is to start by reading the directions. I would stick with the directions per the level. That way you don't forget anything, you don't accidentally create something you're not supposed to, the whole bit. So when we first start off here, let me just start over all the way over, and you'll see you got a blank canvas. Okay, nothing's there. First thing I would do if I were you is I would grab a variable that says sprite. I would grab a set animation. I would change both of these to BG if you want a special background. And I don't have a what you call it yet, but I'll get one here in just a minute. You're also going to need some other basic things from the world drawer. You're going to need a function draw. That's your special function that creates the animation. You're going to need a draw sprites block, that yellow block right there. And then I'm going to throw some comment tags in here for you just to help keep you focused. You do not need to add comment tags to your project. I'm doing this for you so that you can see as we're going. You will also be able to read what I've written here. So at the top of your workspace is where all of your variables go. So variables go at the top. Okay, they do not ever go in your function draw. Don't put anything that says var in the function draw. Okay. Then right here inside the function draw, this is where animations go. Animation code goes here. So things like sprite.rotation gets random number, or sprite.y gets sprite.y minus 2. Those things go there. Now, right below that yellow draw sprites block is where all your text goes. So all text blocks go below the yellow block, but above the end of the function draw. Okay. This is so that your text shows up on top of everything you've created and it doesn't get buried underneath any of your sprites. I also want to show you real quick how to make spacers. I get this question a lot. So do you see how my cursor is kind of blinking right there at the end of line 7? That it's like it goes dark black and then it fades. That's my cursor. I'm going to leave it right there in between these two blocks, and I'm going to hit show text. Now, it looks like it slid down, so let me put it back. There's my cursor, and I'm going to hit the space bar, or the return, not the space bar, the return key. I'm going to hit the return key a bunch of times. Could also be enter, depending on the computer you're using. And now I'm going to go back to blocks mode. And you see now I have these white spacer blocks. And I can move these anywhere I want them to go to give my code some space, make it a little easier to read, things like that. Okay. If I were to put my cursor at the very end, down here where it was, and I hit space, it's going to give me lines in my workspace, but when I go back to blocks mode, you see it's just lines. There's no spacers in there to move. So that's why you want your cursor up in your code somewhere before you hit space. Okay, so now that I've got those things, the first thing it says is to create a background scene. Okay, so with your planning guide, this is where you kind of think ahead what it is you're going to build. I know some of y'all don't like to plan ahead. That's okay. Okay, so if you decide that you want to create a sprite background, I'm going to go into my animation tab. I'm going to click, let me do that again because I'm kind of going fast. So I'm here. I go to my animation tab up here in the top left corner. I'm going to click new animation, and I'm going to click backgrounds. So there's all kinds of really cool dynamic backgrounds that we can choose from. I'm going to pick, what am I going to pick? I'm going to pick outer space. Okay. So I got outer space. I got my face I got to move because I'm right over top of my enter key. And I'm going to hit done. All right. Now I have a background called space 1. Okay. Now when I'm over here, remember from my sprites drawer, I added a var. That's a variable. I named it BG for background. I've got another set animation here, also labeled BG, so they're connected. And then right here, this little drop down caret, this is like I can click that and I can choose the picture that I have. So I'm choosing space. Okay, there it is. The space showed up. Now let's say you don't want a big fancy background. It's okay. Let me get rid of this for a second. This is okay too. You're allowed to go to the drawing drawer. You're allowed to grab a background. Now this one you got to put in the function. Okay. I don't know why I did that. Let me do it like that. There you go. Okay. And I can choose a color. All right. And then it would look like this. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to go crazy, over the top. So let's say if I leave this as blue, then I could add shapes and whatnot and make it dynamic if I wanted. So we're just going to leave it as it is now. You're also welcome to put those variables for background back if you want to. Okay, but I'm going to leave it as is for now. So let me look at the directions for bubble 2. Have I created a background? Okay, and it says try to use at least 2 shapes in your background. All right, so let me add some shapes. So I'm going to go fill white. And I'm going to do, what am I going to do? I'm going to do ellipse. And I'm going to have the ellipse. This is XY width. Width, I want it to be, let's see, 75. Height, I want it to be 25. And for X, I want it to be let's put it over a little bit. And I'm going to put it up higher. So let's see what we got. All right, so I kind of got a cloud. That's what I was aiming for. There's a little cloud up there in the sky. No big deal. I can also add a second cloud. Let's do 200. Let's do 250x. And let's do 65y. Let's do 75 width and 25 height again. So that our clouds are about the same shape. Okay, so I got 2 clouds. So kind of emulating that I'm out in the sky. Okay. I'm done. I've created a background. I've added at least 2 shapes. I've met all the requirements. I can hit finish. So I'm going to do that now. Give a little celebration, say whether or not I like this level. Moving on to 3. Now you'll notice I haven't added a whole lot. You see my workspace? Not a whole lot there yet. On bubble 3, directions say, create your scene sprites. With your background in place, it's time to add your sprites. Do this. Add or draw at least 2 animations in the animation tab. Create at least 2 sprites and assign each one an animation. Set the value of any sprite properties you'd like to use. Try to use at least one sprite property, such as rotation, scale, tint, or anything else from the toolbox with each sprite, and draw all of your sprites on the screen. Okay, so we got to go to our animation tab. Again, this is where pre-planning definitely helps. You got to decide what you're going to make. That's the hardest part. Okay, so what am I going to make? Well, I'm in the sky. I'm kind of feeling like aliens. So let me look here. I got robots. That's not really what I want. Let me go back here. Let me look under fantasy. Okay, we got them kind of aliens. I want these kinds of aliens. I'm going to get this dude. And I'm going to get this chick. And I'm going to hit done. Okay, so I got 2 aliens. Now I can also, if you really feeling fancy, I can go out here to the internet and I can go, what was that game called? Among Us. And I want images. So let me click on that one. I want that image. So I'm going to right click it, save image as. I'm going to call it red and hit save. Then I can go back here and I can click this. I'm going to click upload image. I'm going to select red, open, and there's red. Now I have to get rid of the white space. So I'm going to go bucket, and I'm going to go, let me close this out of the way, make this a little smaller. I've got to choose this checkerboard. Okay, checkerboard is going to give me, like it eliminates the background. So I'm going to bucket that, bucket. Ooh, that bucket sucked. Bucket that. All right, and then I'm going to have to come back in with my eraser and kind of clean it up a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much time on this to make my video super long. It's not going to be perfect either, and that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I bet you'll do better than I am. Okay, over here. Could have also drawn this guy myself. Like, he's not that bad for drawing. Okay, close enough. We got red. Okay, so now coming back here, I've got to add 2 sprites, and I've got to make some changes to them. So remember from the very first start of the video, you add sprites by using the sprites drawer in the toolbox, and the first block you're going to grab is var sprites. I'm going to name this one red. Grab the second one, name this one red. You name yours whatever you want, just so long as they're not all named sprite. I'm going to click this drop down here, and I'm going to choose red. Where do I want red to go? I'm going to slide him over a little bit, put him at 50x, put him at 300y. Let's see how big he is. Okay, so there he is. He's not too bad. I'm probably still going to scale him, which would also satisfy this part right down here, changing the value of any of the properties by using the scale block. So I'm going to grab a scale, also calling it red, because remember, labels matter. We use labels to tie everything together. And I'm going to make him smaller. I'm going to make him 1/4 of the size, or 1/4 of the size. Remember, with a scale block, 1 is the size that it is. If you want it to be smaller, choose a number smaller than 1. If you want it to be bigger, pick a number bigger than 1. So I'm going to hit run. There he is. He's itty bitty. He's in the corner. Perfect. I'm going to do this again. Grab a var. This one I'm going to call, I forget what colors I picked. I'm going to call him yellow. Again, I could have called it Sprite 1, Sprite 2, Sprite 3. Could have called it Fred, George, and Mo. Okay, whatever. As long as it makes sense to you and it makes sense for your program. Okay, so I'm going to go yellow and I'm going to choose floating alien. Let's see if he's yellow. Ah, he's purple. That's okay. What's this other one look like? Alien 9. Pink. All right, we're going to leave it. So yellow is this pink alien. Kind of reminds me of Real Monsters, but you got to be older to know what that cartoon was. And I'm going to grab a scale again. Yellow, let's scale it down 0.4. There's yellow. And then just because I'm extra, I'm going to add in the last one. You do not have to do 3. You'd only have to do 2, but I'm going to do 3. And this one is called purple. Purple. P-U-R-P-L-E. Purple. And there's floating alien. And of course, I'm going to scale him as well. P-U-R-P-L-E. 0.35. I'm just picking random numbers for scale. You make it whatever size you want it to be. And then I don't want it to be on top of the other one. So watch if I hit red. They're on top of each other. So I want to move this guy over. I'm going to go 350X. I'm going to go 100Y. There we go. So I got my 3 aliens on the screen. I have changed some of their properties because I used a scale for each one. I could have also used tint or rotation or any of those things had I chosen to. So have I satisfied the directions for bubble 3? Yes, I have. I have at least 2 sprites on the screen. Okay. And again, here's my code. So you can see. And I'm going to hit finish and move on to bubble 4. Moving on. All right, there's my dudes again. Now it says create the scene, text. The next piece of your scene is to add text. Add at least 2 lines of text to your project. Use any other commands to change the appearance of your text. Now for me, my class, I am requiring you to add 2 lines of text that are 2 different colors and 2 different sizes. Okay, so where do we put our text? Well, text is going to go inside the function draw below the yellow draw sprites block. That way it's not covered up. Where do I get my text blocks? In my toolbox, in the drawing drawer is where all the text lives. So the first thing I need is a fill color. We're going to leave it at yellow for now. The next thing I need, scroll down, is a text size pixels. It defaults to size 12. I'm going to bump it, make it a little bigger, and say size 18. The third is text str. Text str. str stands for string. And remember, a string in computer language are words or numbers that are between quotation marks. The quotation marks lets the computer know that that is human words. Okay? Words that you want printed on the screen for humans to read. If we don't have the quotation marks, then the computer assumes that that word is a label or a command in programming language. Okay, so make sure you leave those quotation marks there. So now what do I want to happen? Well, I think I'm just going to have a basic conversation. So first, for my X, I'm going to move this. I'm going to say 200X, and I'm going to say 350Y. And what are they going to say? I'm going to say, what's up, my dudes? Question mark. And let's see where that shows up. There it is on my screen. You see it? What's up, my dudes? That's my first line of text. Now I need one of these other guys to say something. So I'm going to grab another fill, because remember, my classroom instructions are 2 lines of text, 2 different colors, 2 different sizes. So this one I'm going to choose, what am I going to choose? Choose green. I might change that. We got to see how dark this green is. Green, I want a text size pixel. I'm going to say 20. And I'm going to grab a text str, that stands for string. And where do I want it to go? Well, let me put my cursor right there. Looking below my reset button, that's 28x and 111y. So I'm going to go 28x, 111y. And what's he going to say? He's going to say, hello, friends and neighbors. Okay, see how long that is. All right, so there it is. It's awful dark. So let me change the color. Let me make it white. Okay, so I went into my fill, I changed it from green, and now it's white. So it says, hello, friends and neighbors. What's up, my dudes? Okay, pretty basic. I could have also Googled like a joke and told a joke. That probably would have been more interesting to watch, but, I want to keep the video short. So let's look here. Have I added 2 lines of text to my project? Yes. Is my text 2 different colors and 2 different sizes? Color, size, color, size. Yes. So now I'm going to hit finish. All right, bubble 5, the fun part. Create your scene movement. The final piece of your scene is to animate your scene by adding movement. Add movement to your sprites, text, or drawn shapes. Include 1 type of random movement. Include 1 type of counter pattern. Okay, so all of our movement lives in the function draw, and we're going to put it above the yellow draw sprites block. So the first thing I'm going to do, hit run so I can see my scene again. I'm going to go sprites, and I'm going to say rotation. Who's going to rotate? Let's say yellow. Yellow's going to rotate. Now I can do this 2 ways. Is he going to wiggle, wiggle? If he wants to wiggle, wiggle, we're going to use a random number from the math drawer. And I'm going to go -3, +3. You pick whatever numbers you want. And I misspelled yellow. How about that? There's a W in there. Okay, now watch. Okay. You should be able to see that the alien right in the middle of my screen is kind of moving back and forth like this. If I want him to instead rotate all the way around, I need the addition or subtraction math block. So I got rid of my random number. I put in my addition or subtraction. Again, you don't have to do this, just watch, okay? And I'm going to go sprite rotation, get sprite rotation. Make sure you change that to yellow, +2. Pick whatever number you want. Now reset run, watch what happens. So there he is. He's still moving, it's just a different type of movement. You got to have at least 1 counter pattern. So if I leave that, that's my 1 counter pattern, okay? Let's do the purple guy next. I'm going to do Y, and I'm going to say purple Y, and I'm going to do him with a counter pattern as well. I'm going to do an addition, and I'm going to say purple Y +1. Now by using addition, it's going to make him go down the screen, because remember, Y increases as you go down. So let me hit the reset run so you can see it. There he is. He's moving down the screen. Okay. And then the last one is red. So let's make red do something. I'm going to try this. Watch this. This is going to be interesting. We're going to go red scale. Red scale random number block. Red scale random number. So remember, scale's pretty small here. I made my red scale at a 0.25. So if I want red to change sizes, if I leave it at 1 to 10, watch what's going to happen to him. Look at that. Like, he gets so big you can't even really tell what's going on. So let me try it again. I'm going to go, let me get rid of this. I'm going to go, red is going to switch back and forth from 0 to 0.75. So that 0 means he should be like disappeared, gone. Let's see. Does it work? Oh, it didn't work. Okay, so let's try this. Let's try 0.1 to 0.75. It still didn't work. Let's try 0.3. Well, I broke it, didn't I? Okay, so let's not do his scale. Let's get rid of scale, and let's do instead, let's do his X. Okay, red X. Now, red is currently standing at 50x. 50x. So I'm going to go 45 to 55. Okay, so now let's see. There we go. So he's kind of doing like the shuffle right there. I wonder why that scale didn't work. If you can figure it out, let me know. Anywho, so let's take a look at my directions. I've added movements to my sprites. I could have chosen movement to my text or my shapes. We've included one random movement, which is the sprite X, and we've included 2 counter patterns for a total of 3 movements. Have I satisfied the requirements? Yes, I have. Okay. Real quick, if you had decided that you wanted to make your words move, you would have done something like this. Okay. So again, don't freak out. You do not have to do this. You're welcome to hit fast forward, or you're welcome to just pause and watch. So I would have grabbed var x gets blank from the variables toolbox, and I would have left it as, let's say, x location, and I'm going to give it a random number. Let's say 20 to 50. And then I could have come down here, and you see this label, grab this label, and right here where it says what's up, or no, let's do the hello friends. I can use this label right here in the place of the X. And so now my words did not wiggle back and forth. Why did they not wiggle back and forth? Hold on. I know why. Because I need this. So right here, I'm going to say X gets random number. I'm going to leave this at 20. So X location gets random number. So now, because I've got X location down here in place of my X position for my text, now my words will also wiggle. Okay, that seems like a bit much. Let me dial that back. Say 20 to 25. It's moving so much I can't hardly see it. There we go. So that's how you would set it up if you want your words or your shapes to move as well. You would create a variable location, give it a number. Inside the function draw, you would grab this other block, assign a variable, use the same label, give it a random number block, or give it a counter pattern, and then you use this label wherever you want that information to be accessed. Okay? All right, hit finish. Move on. And then bubble 6 says review your scene. Check over your animated scene at least one time to make sure that you have included everything you want. Compare the animated scene with the one you drew in your plan. Make any last minute changes. And what are you most proud of? Okay. So that's it, folks. That is your Lesson 14 mini project animated scene, meeting all of the basic requirements. And don't forget, if you ever want to share this with your family, you hit this share button up here, and you can send it to your mom's phone or your dad or whoever. Okay, you're allowed to do that. You can do that. All right, that's it. That's all I got. One last time, take a look at my code. 3 sprites, 1 variable. You don't have to have the variable. We've got a background. We've got some shapes. We used a variable. You don't have to have that. We've got rotation, sprite Y is moving, and X has got a random number. Got a yellow draw sprites block, and I've got 2 sets of text here, both with different colors and different text sizes. That's it. Toodles.